very good morning to everyone. Now, let me describe a scene that I think most of you will recognize. It started over something small. Maybe it was who left the gas on or whether the meeting was scheduled for Tuesday or Wednesday. And this one is classic. Whether the route your husband just insisted on taking was actually faster than the one you suggested. It was a small thing, but then one word led to another. And then the tone changed. Then it became less about the thing and more about something older, something that had been sitting in a corner, waiting for exactly this moment to walk into the room. And now you're both tired, both a little wounded, and somehow neither of you can quite remember how it started. Sounds familiar? Of course it does. We've all been through this because this is the oldest human sport, more ancient than cricket, more popular than kabaddi, and with a far worse injury record than either. And we call it proving a point. And today, we are going to talk about the quiet, radical, deeply underrated act of choosing not to. So let's begin with this opening thought. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Not every disagreement deserves your energy. Now, I want you to sit with that for a moment because our first instinct is to resist it. But what if I'm right? But what if I let go and they think they won? But what about my self respect? Valid questions, all of them, and we'll come to them. But first, just ask yourself honestly, how many arguments have you won in your lifetime that you still feel good about? And how many relationships have quietly frayed in the winning of them? So, peace is not for the weak. It's the most difficult choice a strong person can make. Just imagine two people holding opposite ends of a rope. Both of them are pulling hard. Neither is willing to give an inch. And the interesting thing, and in fact, the painful thing, is that the harder each person pulls, the more stuck both of them become. No one is going anywhere. The rope just gets tighter, the hands get sorer, and all that energy, all that effort, all that determination is achieving exactly nothing except exhaustion. Now, one person lets go. The other person stumbles, falls back a little maybe, but then something remarkable. They're both free. The tension is gone. The rope that was keeping them locked is now just a rope on the floor, doing nothing. So letting go of the rope doesn't mean you were wrong. It doesn't mean they were right. It means you were wise enough to understand that continuing to pull was costing you more than it was worth. The one who lets go first is not the loser. They are the one who chose freedom over the fight. So let me share a few examples from our daily day-to-day life. So let's meet Shobha Kaki today. She's the heart of a joint family, patient, proud, very clear about how a kitchen should be run. Her daughter-in-law, Megha, has recently started adding garlic to the dal. Shobha Kaki does not approve. Garlic in dal was not done in this house. It was not done in her mother's house. It's simply not done. For 2 weeks, there have been small comments, pointed silence, a certain way of lifting the lid on the pot and saying nothing, which somehow communicates everything. Megha knows, Shubhakaki knows, she knows, and then The kitchen has become a very tense place. One morning, Shobha Kaki serves herself the dal, garlic and all, and says, आज थोड़ा अलग लग रहा है. अच्छा बना है. Tastes a little different today. It's nice. She did not say Megha was right. She did not change her opinion. She simply decided that the warmth of that kitchen and the relationship in it mattered more than the garlic. The dal had garlic, the home had peace. Both were better for it. And now let's meet Deepika. She works in a mid-sized advertising firm and is very good at her job. In a recent team meeting, a colleague named Rohit presented an idea that, frankly, Deepika had already floated 3 weeks ago in an email that apparently no one read. Rohit got the nod, the appreciation, the great thinking. Deepika felt the blood rise. Her jaw tightened. She had the email. She could pull it up right now. She could say with receipts, actually, but then she paused and asked herself one quiet question. What do I want more right now? Credit or credibility? She let it go. The corridor after meeting, she told Rohit, good presentation. He looked slightly guilty because he knew. 2 months later, when the campaign succeeded, Deepika's manager said to her privately, you're the most composed person on this team, and that's rare. She didn't get the credit in the room. She got something that lasts longer, a reputation for grace under pressure. You can't manufacture that. You can only earn it by letting go exactly when it's hardest. And then there is Sureshji, retired, opinionated, deeply attached to being right. At family dinners, he's a man who will find a way to bring any conversation back to the point he made in 1987 that no one has adequately acknowledged. His son Anand recently made a career decision, left a stable government job to start something of his own. Sureshji was against it, said so loudly several times, then brought it up at a family gathering and again at a cousin's wedding. Anand's business is now doing well. And at a recent family lunch, someone mentioned it, and all eyes quietly moved to Sureshji. Sureshji took a slow sip of his lassi and set it off and said, Anand ka dimag hamesha acha tha. He didn't say he was wrong. He didn't apologize. He simply chose in that moment the version of himself he wanted his son to remember. Anand smiled not because his father admitted defeat, but because his father chose him over his ego. And that is the quietest and the most powerful thing a parent can do. So here is the honest truth about most arguments. They are not about what they appear to be about.
Mhm.
The dal is not about garlic. The meeting is not about credit. The career decision is not about who was right. Most arguments are about ego, about the need to be seen, validated, acknowledged, and ego, by its nature, will never be satisfied. You can win every argument and still feel hollow inside because winning didn't give you what you were actually looking for. So before your next disagreement fully ignites, try asking yourself two questions. One, do I want peace here or do I want to be right? And second, and if I am right, is proving it worth what will cost the relationship? Now, these are not easy questions, but they're clarifying ones. Sometimes, not always, but sometimes, the most mature, most courageous, most genuinely power thing you can do is simply let go of the rope. Not because you lost, but because you are wise enough to see that the rope was never worth holding on. So let us do today's reflection exercise. And I want you to think right now of one argument or tension that is currently alive in your life. It might be in your home, at work, with a sibling, a parent, a friend, and most probably with your spouse, and something that has been sitting between you and another person, unresolved, still warm. You don't have to share it with anyone. Just hold it in your mind. And now ask yourself, honestly and gently, can I choose peace here instead of the point? Not can you pretend it doesn't matter. Not can you suppress what you feel, but can you, with full awareness of what you are choosing, decide that this relationship, this person is worth more than the satisfaction of being right? Now, if the answer is yes, you already know what to do. The harder question is simply, will you? So, peace is not the absence of conflict, it is the decision that some things matter more than winning. See, we spend so much of our lives collecting evidence for our own rightness, building cases, waiting for acknowledgement. And the tragedy is not that we are wrong, often we are not. The tragedy is that in insisting on being right, we slowly lose the things we were right about protecting in the first place: the relationship, the warmth, the ease of being in the same room as someone you love. So choosing peace is not giving up, it's growing up. It is the quiet decision of that people are still learning. That being at peace costs nothing compared to what being at war takes from you. So this week, find one place in your life where you have been pulling the rope, one argument, one tension, one cold silence that has gone on long enough, and just let go. Not with drama, not with a speech about how gracious you are being, quietly, simply, as an act of private strength. See what happens on the other side of that release. Because I promise you, what waits there is not defeat. What waits there is peace. And peace, once you've truly chosen it, is the one thing you'll never want to give back. With that thought, thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. Thank you.